It's the life story of a 20-year-old guy, Shu Matsumoto, who is destined to meet death at such an earlier age. He is prescribed to have surgery, but it won't recover him completely. The 5-year survival rate would still be 30%. Even if does not do anything, he will die in 6 months to a year. So if you can see your death hovering around you as a cloud, what will you do? Live your life to the fullest or give up on your life completely. Shu Matsumoto is living his life by eating without doing anything, wasting his life on the internet and sleeping all day. He does not have anyone or anything to give him a desire to live. The scene turns to when he is in the car with his mother coming back from the hospital. When he is playing games on his mobile, she goes out convenience store and brings him coffee and some meat buns. She worryingly asks him if he has decided to have surgery, but he has not and still thinking about it. Spending his days resting and doing nothing, one day he falls asleep and dreams about a mysterious girl, which makes him open his eyes suddenly. He goes to see his mother, Ninori, who is out for her job and has left him with a packed dish. Suddenly, he listens to the milkman who has come to deliver the milk. Shu does not want to be found by him, otherwise it will cause trouble for him. He tries his best to conceal his presence, but in vain. That milkman catches him hiding. However, he seems to be a nice guy and had heard Shu go off to the university in Tokyo, but things seem different. That's the conversation he was trying to avoid. These grown-ups are always nosy and meddle in others' family matters. Shu reveals he dropped out and came to his parents' house 6 months ago. It's good milkman is not as narrow-minded as others and laughs off, even asking him to hang out with his son who has kawaii kids. When he is done delivering milk and rumbling about his kids, he leaves their house. Shu sits back to have a meal while listening to the news. Eventually, some news related to a female singer, Sayan, airs on TV. It is expected she had mental issues and there were creative differences between her and her label, so she has gone on a sudden hiatus. Shu starts recalling something and sweating all over her face as he is going to have a panic attack. Fortunately, his mom barges into the room with worry that he might have collapsed, but to her relief, he is in good health. She collects herself and gives him news about a certain girl that she has come back to her home. It's the same girl who is some big shot, whose news is airing on the news and has gone on hiatus for some good reason. Shu does not seem to have a good relationship with her, and her name even brings back some bad memories. It is not that cliche story, but filled with thriller and bittersweet romance. He kinda understands why she's going on a hiatus. She just wants to hide and disappear from everyone's eyes. Suddenly, he hears a guy, Masakio, shouting his name loudly, which runs chills down his spine because he does not want to see him yet, so being a hardcore introvert, he tries to hide himself, whereas his mother goes to greet that guy. He wants her to dodge Masakio as soon as possible, but it seems she has other plans. She straight barges into his room, telling him that Miss Kikio lad wants to hang out with him and won't budge from the front door until Shu leaves his nest. This leaves him no choice but to go out, and this way, his caring mother manages to bring sunshine to his kid who coops up in his room all day. Masakio is chill and cheerful for a boy who has kids, and he has come to pick Shu for a short trip. He is the son of that gentle milkman who must have blabbered all about Shu to him. They pass by an empty lot that is on the market for sale after the death of some granny whose house was constructed on this place. It brings about a conversation where Masaki's love for this place and his desire to make it livelier is shown. Shu is inspired by his ideals and how he is making household according to them. While talking with him, Shu loses track where they are going and realizes it when they enter a street that leads to Sayan's home. Shu does not want to go there and requests him to change the route, but Masakio is a stubborn lad who has some plans going on in his mind. On reaching there, Masakio gets out of the car and meets Sayan's mom while Shu remains in the car as a scaredy cat. Masakio returns with a sulking face because Sayan is not home, but he does not give up and plans to find her. Shu wants to avoid this situation no matter what and makes an excuse that he wants to go barber shop, but loses his wits when Sayan's mother pops up. In compulsion, he has to come out and meet her. She does not seem to dislike him for whatever happened between her daughter and Shu, even requests him to play with Sayan as they used to be, a caring mother looking best for her daughter. It was just an excuse made by Shu, but he ends up in a barber shop and gets his new haircut. Masakio is dumb for a reason for not understanding Shu's reasons and now plans to take him to their nostalgic Tabi middle school while there is time for lunch. He reveals the bitter truth about the school that's going to be demolished soon this year. It's Saturday and there are not any students, but it's not surprising. Even on weekdays, the number is highly low, which is the reason this school is going to get closed. Masakio looks for his homeroom teacher Sujura, who was also his vice principal at that time, and surprises him with his grander, shocking entrance to his room. He is the old man who has not forgotten anything about Masakio, and they start talking about their times. Shu had the impression that the old man would be a typically quiet and unapproachable person, but he is kinda opposite. He is in the room packing all the goods since this school is gonna torn down and he will just retire. He wanted that type of life where he could die with a smile on his face. That old man might have been eating almonds at a young age. He remembers who Shu is because Shu and that girl Sayan used to be famous in their time and play music from the gym to the sports field, and he watched them from his room. Right now, he is standing in the same position in his room, and Sayan is in her old position singing her song. Shu listens to this song and impulsively runs to where she is. Her song's lyrics are quite hitting and realistic, which parallels the situation they are in right now. She becomes surprised to see him standing behind her. They exchange conversations about why he left his university. He had no such goals, and he could not figure out why. She seems to be fed up with his reasoning. He has not changed a bit from stepping back for a temporary fix and sinking at the bottom of it before he realizes it. When he is frozen at one point, she passes by him and calls him pathetic for having an empty life, but she likes guys who always run away. On this tiring and cold morning, Shu is out on his bicycle to meet up with his friend Masakio. Actually, it's Masakio who is a tenacious one and has been bugging Shu to come up early morning. Shu thinks he might have called him for another trip, but he is just taking him for fishing. Shu does not want to go and turns away, riding fast on his bike with Masakio following him. Masakio makes it his other game and has fun while riding together as a biker gang. He gives him two options to spend time: camping empty-handed or fishing, and Shu ends up choosing fishing. They have had such a relationship in their childhood. Masakio was always naughty in the past and pushed him and Sayan to go fishing. So his childish mind plans to bring Sayan along with him, and with that, they end up standing right after her house. Seeing those dudes right after home piss her off, she's not even pleased with the fact he has brought Shu along with him. Masakia is the comedy relief character and brings about their past that she used to call him her big brother and now is referring to him by his name. She does not care about such things and wants them to go. Masakio, as usual, comes with another trick and plays her kid time video where she confessed she wants to make a family with Shu and have 3 kids. She gets so flushed with embarrassment and snatches his mobile phone. He got this video from her parents and still has cute videos of her kid time. If she won't come, then he will throw a viewing party for Shu. Without any choice, she agrees to go fishing with them and comes in her old tricycle. They reach the bank of the river where Masakio goes somewhere with an excuse of catching baits for fishing and leaves those lovebirds alone. But the situation is kinda awkward. They are not talking to each other and are positioned at some distance, which could be the same as the distance between their hearts. Shu desperately wants to change this situation and remembers his Kami-sama to make some miracle. Suddenly, Kami-sama fulfills his wish when a cute kid girl stands behind them, carrying a rod and blabbering some crazy stuff. She looks like a foreigner and acts as a mighty god who will eradicate conflicts with her power of the sword. By sword, she means the rod she carries, which is the same one which Masakio had. She throws the hook of the rod into the river and earns praise for catching a fish this easily. Cute Sayan and Shu are all surprised and surround her. It is where she tells them her name and her wish to play with them. Shu has heard of this name before and guesses she might be Masakio's child, who looks like a foreigner as his wife is British. He confirms it by inquiring if Masakio has asked her to do something. She says that the commoner, her father, has not said anything to her. See how she is growing up in her fantasy world. She's in her mission of searching for her companions, which indicates she has no friends. Sayan steps forward and helps her catch fish, even cuddles her looking how cute Lisa is. Shu makes a comment that a loli is still a lolicon, and she angrily replies she has told him multiple times that it's about motherhood. Things seem to be turning in a good direction. Lisa's good at fishing and wants Sayan to learn how to deal with offerings for fish catching, but Sayan turns pale with the thoughts of bugs because she has always been afraid of them. Seeing her terrifying face, Shu gives her a sausage as an offering for fish, which brings him old memories of how they used to go fishing. A moment ago, they were in an awkward position, and now they are talking like long-lost friends. They both have never caught any fish in their lives, either by bugs or by sausage. But this time, Shu finally manages to get one, and he is getting serious about catching more. It makes Sayan jealous, so she steps ahead and stands right near the edge of the river. Shu senses she might fall, and he moves towards her, but it's too late, and they end up dumping in the river and getting soaked. Sayan giggles while thinking it's nostalgic. They used to have fun like this in the past. At the same time, Masakio returns and laughs at them for looking this disgusting. He has brought towels which they can use to wipe themselves. Sayan can't go home like this, so Masakio gives him the idea of wiping herself behind the bank of the river, otherwise people will talk about her as a girl in her wet soaking jersey on a 3-wheeled bicycle. It leaves her no choice. She goes there with the towel in embarrassment, and Shu looks at her with his weird and dirty mind. Masakio realizes what he is thinking, but more than anything, he is glad Shu and Sayan have talked a little. When he is with them, they tend to rely on them, so he changed the strategy and sent Lise to mess up with them. Shu considers it none of Masakio's business, but he does not mean it. Masakio gets busy playing with his lowly daughter while Shu dries himself. After a while, Sayan also returns with a disgusting face as she is feeling really awful. Chapter #3. Those guys got up earlier, were forced to do fishing, and now they are playing kickball in a vacant lot. Men and women both have made their own teams. The rules of kickball are not that different from baseball. The defender team throws the soccer ball and then the attacking team kicks it before running to the base. If one can catch the ball without bouncing it back, or if he kicks the ball before opponents step on the base, then he is out. It's the women's team's turn. Sayan is flowing with energy like Super Saiyan and throws the ball at Shu with her full force. Shu kicks back the ball and starts running, whereas the flying ball moves towards Sayan, which she successfully blocks and throws right at his back. It's payback for what dominance he showed while fishing. Masakio nags him for fooling around, but it does not matter, he will get his point back. However, his daughter is not that fragile little girl, she easily knocks him out with a ball. Now the offense and defense teams have switched. It's Shu's turn to throw the ball, but he wants to end this as soon as possible. Sayan can listen to his mind and his most wanted desire, which she really dislikes. He gently throws the ball, which she kicks with her full potential, and thus it's flown directed at someone's house. It's the house where that Hellguard dog, Cerberus, lives. Sayan is terrified of this dog, but still, she egoistically goes to get it. The scene shifts to the time when they are young and passionate kids. A similar situation happens when she goes to get the ball from that house. Cerberus soundly sleeps while she carefully moves around him, but he suddenly wakes up and attacks her. At that time, her hero Shu comes and saves her. Turns out Cerberus becomes his friend. One can clearly see how much she feels for him. They both leave the house while holding their hands. He advises her not to go alone when she's afraid of dogs, but she goes off with the thought he will come for her. Presently, Masakio provokes Shu. What if a similar situation happens and her clothes are bitten off? Having no other choice, Shu goes to the house and sees she's having trouble with Cerberus. This time again, he saves her from trouble and is friends with the dog. While going back, she mopes over how unreliable a girl she is and how he reaches out to her every time like this to save her. She will always be waiting for him. She is leaning on his back while saying it. The scene is slightly romantic as well as sentimental. She leaves his back and apologizes to him for all the trouble. Then all of a sudden, she blocks her nose due to the smell coming from his soaking jersey. Well, it was uncalled for. A notification on the phone disturbed Shu's sleep. He gets up and sees the message, which is from Masakio, saying that they will be participating in the Tabanagawa Festival this weekend. Tabanagawa Festival is a small local oven festival. Shu seems a bit conflicting that they are just going to have fun, but if it's Masakio's message, then there must be some trouble involved. However, he doesn't care about it much because he is exhausted during weekends, while on weekdays he is in his working mode. He gets up and looks for his gaming stations, but he can't find them. While looking for them, his eye catches his piano keyboard, which he stored in his cupboard 5 years ago. He wanted to throw it, but because he was so attached to it, he couldn't throw it. Yeah, hurtful memories with his beloved Siam. He tries to keep it away in the cupboard, but eventually, all this haul falls down on him. In this mess, he finds his old CD that has his demo. He looks at it with a disgusting face, but then again puts it back in his cupboard, and finally he finds his stations. The scene shifts to the evening when Masakio barges into Shu's apartment. He finished his work and got tea for Shu, but that is clearly alcohol. Masakio came in his car, so that's why Shu was a little worried about Masakio drinking alcohol at this time. But Masakio has come up with a solution. His family, he has brought his little foreigner princess and his wife Ime. His wife Ime is such a pretty and charming girl who meets Shu in a very lovely way. She is as pure as one who can't drink, so jerk Masakio is using her this time for his horrible blunder. Shu's thoughts are the same as us, how she has ended up with that jerk. She can understand he is going through what and whispers to get them out before it's too late. He can't dismay her and calmly invites her home. Masakio does not know how to end his mischief. He has brought our female MC Cyan along with his family, whose mood seems to be a little off, and gets in the house ignoring Shu as much as she can. She is a minor and her birthday has not come yet. However, she has one interesting person to get along with, being a lolicon Elise, and invests her time with her. We see Shu is doing nothing but eavesdropping on Cyan and Ima's conversation and commenting on them. Ima has not seen her for a while. The last time she saw her was when she was a beautiful woman on TV. Cyan is wearing her school jersey, which is quite nostalgic to Ime, as she was a graduate of that school. How you would feel when someone comments on you for wearing old clothes after years, not as sarcasm. Cyan makes excuses that it's only affordable loungewear she has and has ordered more stylish pajamas though, but Shu knows she is just lying. Ime goes on and shows the albums that she loved and bought. Jerk Masakio has added another drama to the plot. He makes a tend of Shu and reminds him of a message of going to the Tabanagawa Festival. Shu is not interested at all, but Masakio gives him blockbuster news that he has enrolled Shu and Sayan both for onstage performance, and Imai and Elise will be cooperating. Shu is at his limits and asks Imai permission to hit her husband, but Sayan is already hitting him. He requests her to persuade Masakio to undo all things, but she is also pretty excited, and reversely, she persuades him to go with her. He cannot refuse her, so hopes Sayan will do something, but she is already being lovey-dovey with Lise without struggling back any further. Shu's mother Ayori makes her entry and finds interesting people gathered in her house, making a mess on weekdays. She also joins them, where Masakio informs her all about his preparations for the festival. The festival is only for elderly and middle-aged people, but he is planning to attract people with his callous idea of undressing. Ayori does not have a problem with this idea, so he includes it as part of his list of all ideas that they will be doing in the festival. They must be joking. It's time suitable for their practice, as the festival is on next Sunday. Shu has a problem with this timing. They won't have time to gather at one place and prepare for the festival. Masakio does not heed him and turns to Sayan to ask her for her solo performance, but she is forbidden without consent. Masakio had expected that in the end he decides to create a band. It's okay if it's a copy song. She will be in disguise and will bring sunshine to this festival. Shu does not seem to have an issue. Instead, he desires to perform alongside her if he is going to die anyway soon. Guys, he is the pianist. Sayan does not reject his idea right away, which is quite unexpected for Shu. Poor kid, crying emoji. The setting of the plot isn't like your lie in April. This time, it's a male MC. Masakio starts blabbering his speech. He wants to make this town livelier. Young people are moving out of town, old ones are dying, so he wants to make this festival as amazing as one which attracts the young generation who prolong this festival forever. It's what he can do as in charge of the organization, and he begs them to lend their help for this achievement. Well, it was such a heart-touching speech. Sayan points out a problem if they would be able to make it livelier in a week. She won't sing for fun as long as it's her day job. Imai coughs evilly and something ominous aura is poured out. She drags Sayan along with her and shows her the true spirit of parent and daughter. She is in high spirits and poses in excitement. Ayori is about to get off and Masakio holds her down. Mother and son both are also going to join them. He has not seen his wife this excited since their high school. But Shu remembers her this mode clearly because she was like this whenever she taught him and Sayan music. However, seeing Imai's poses, it is cleared out Lise resembles to whom and has not even a thread of her father's DNA. Imai has her house named Sterling Music School. She takes all of them to her music classroom, which is quite embellished with her music taste, rock star music of the 90s. Masakio has his eyes open because it's his first time coming to this room, and her taste in music also does not match with her lovely personality. Imai flushes and tries to make them understand it's what girls of his age are like. Shu and Masakio are left speechless. However, Ayori comes ahead and praises her for her taste. Imai knew Ayori would understand, so she invites Ayori to join them as she used to play brass guitar at her middle school. This is top secret tea which Sayan's mom easily spilled. In fact, the tradition of playing music in Tabi school was started by Ayori and her gang. Ayori still does not agree to join them, so Imai goes on spilling more information that she has her graduation album when she had flashy makeup at the cultural festival. To conserve more embarrassing information, she finally agrees to join them for preparation. Now the actual lessons for kids begin. They must be aware of the genre of visual kei, as they were forcefully educated at a young age. Shu remembers very well how he was forced to listen to it and perform her favorite songs, but she is this cute, so he would forgive her. Her charm works on him very well. Actually, it was her mother who taught him how to play piano, but she also listened to him, and her words of encouragement made him happy. The fact is, he looked up to middle school Imai like she was an adult Imai. He is blushing while talking. He reveals on the spur of the moment that he thought it must be looked like he was one of her other students, and she clarifies he was the only student she personally taught. The moment is like they are lovebirds. Sayan interrupts them with a deadly stare that break time has ended. She is upset and calls Masakio an idiot for not noticing a NEET is making moves on his wife. Imai remembers something about Sayan that she got upset just like this on the first day of the lesson and insisted she wanted to play piano with him. Sayan is blocking her ears from listening to embarrassing past, and Shu did not think she would get upset over something like this. Preparations are almost complete. Ayori and Lise on the guitar, Imai is on the drums. Shu is on the piano and Sayan will sing. The band's first rehearsal starts with its full power, and everyone puts in his all efforts. Shu is having a problem catching up to his beloved girl Sayan, and his insecurities start to come to the surface. He left her company because he was mediocre and she was a genius. He was afraid to be thrown away if he drags her down. When the performance ends, Masakio praises them and declares them ready to be on stage, but Sayan utterly refuses. She has a problem with Shu that he was just jarring on the piano and got in the way. It was clear from his performance that he was just running away in fear. Will he play well if she doesn't sing? But she is not going to step back, quite oppositely. She will sing if he is there, and she hates him when he's a loser like now. Her clinging to him is what makes him continue and want to make it from here for the last time. He wants to give his life meaning by giving something to his village. He requests Imai to take him as her student for the last time. Shu starts his training under his beloved sensei Imai. He's improving much better and earning praise from her, which in turn boosts up his courage. Each group will get 8 minutes on stage, and he is planning to learn an encore and 3 different songs, which would be quite hectic to learn in such a short amount of time. But Loki requires extra effort compared to the average person if he wants Saiyan to perform with them. As a college dropout NEET, he will outperform that audience will demand an encore. Moreover, he does not want to let down Imai. Masakio interrupts them and intends to drag Shu for his personal business even when he is in the middle of his training. Shu resists back, but he has no other choice and ends up joining him. They have to put up flyers in their surroundings and middle school, which will take max 30 minutes. Masakio's idiocy does not have limits. He had already designed the flyers from the beginning and changed them all night again and after persuading them. His love for his daughter is clearly shown in the flyer with her huge picture. Well, no wonder he is such a nice guy. He wanted to help them out by advertising their event. Imai nags him why he did not let her help him and stayed all night, but it was a small piece of work that he wanted to do by himself, considering he is not participating in playing any instrument. They go to their middle school and meet their sensei Sujiwara. They have to put up flyers to attract students, so Masakio asks him permission to replace old flyers with new ones. Sensei does not seem to have a problem, but something troubles him. He wants to see what the new ones look like. He takes a look at them and bluntly calls them crappy flyers. They are designed in an unorganized way which won't attract anyone and influence them to show up. So he takes the responsibility to redesign them. It will hardly take just 10 minutes. He is the man of his word. He quickly makes the new flyers and sends them to the printer, where they can make as many copies as they want. Making flyers this quickly can be expected from a veteran teacher who has been making printouts every day. These printouts are really amazing considering how good the layout and format are, contrary to how Masakio designed them. Masakio turns very sentimental and invites him to come to the festival. Sensei does not accept it right away. He will come when he feels like it. He goes to Shu, who's putting up flyers, and asks him if the special guests on the flyer are Cyan and him. Shu is not certain if a special guest thing would be possible. It will depend upon when he manages to persuade Cyan. Sensei has always liked the sound which they both made, so if they are going to play, then he will come for sure. It puts Shu in a dilemma with the difference between Cyan, who sings in Tokyo, or Cyan of the past. Next, they go to the community center where there is a voice going on if there was a junior to help them out. Masakio shows up taking Shu and introduces him to an old man as the son of Ayori and a junior helping hand. All old folks are working on preparations of festivals and young ones are needed to carry out labor tasks. Shu understands the situation that he is the right professional man for this job considering he is a NEET who has plenty of free time. He agrees to help them with a sigh, but the only compensation he will be provided is the lunch. He cheers up a bit when he listens to Imai helping them, but she will be going to do some admin work. Moreover, a sturdy guy drags him for manly work. This physical labor is so tiring for him. After all, he has jammed his body by playing games and doing other random kinds of stuff all day. He wants to sneak back home out of his habit, but a flashback of Cyan rebuking him brings him back to the track. Imai comes and wipes his sweat, which encourages him more, and impulsively, he decides to move the chairs and desks. However, he can't do it anymore and his back starts killing him after 5 minutes. Elders also feel slightly ashamed, but no one would volunteer to do it if they step back. Shu is aware of this much. If these elders are not around, then the festival would not exist anymore. They are like Masakio, who loves the town they were born in, and that's enough to motivate them. He goes out to see what Masakio is doing and finds out he is playing with kids, skipping his work, and invites him to join them. Networking with locals is also a part of advertising the event, and if they don't find an opportunity to have fun, then there is no way someone would lend this opportunity. But Shu does not buy it and persuades him to go and work. Without any choice, Masakio leaves the game and goes back. Shu is left with those teenagers who seem to be energetic young. They have been seeing him lately around here, so it seems he does not have anything to do. Shu sweats with shame and makes an excuse that he is in college and right now he has a fall break. Suddenly, an old guy interrupts him and discloses that he is in NEET, which leaves Shu more shameful. He invites those kids to join them for festival preparation, but they don't seem to be interested. However, if he wins basketball against them, then they will give it a thought. Shu-kun is ready to do it, and then they make a team to fight against each other. The milk guy joins Shu-kun and the other two are their opponents. The milk guy tells Shu-kun to leave the jump balls to him, but Shu-kun asks him to focus on good passing, and that will be enough. 3 minutes later, Shu-kun is crying because it seems like he lost and the other guys are making fun of him, saying sports are pretty tough for out-of-shape guys. The other milk guy, Tommy-san, retired after 30 seconds. Shu-kun is lying on the ground and everyone tries to wake him up, but he asks them to go and play as he is not ready to play anymore. The other guys make fun of him again that he's a jobless guy and has nothing going on. Shu-kun angrily gets up and says being jobless and having nothing going on is unrelated. He asks them to wait for a second as he is not going to run away anymore. He runs towards them and says that he will show them the power of an adult with way too much free time. He asks them to help him with the festival work if he wins and talks about Galaxy 74. The guys have never heard of it, but they ask him to bring it on. They also want something if they win, so they ask him to buy them a BS5 if they win, but Shu-kun asks them not to demand the latest console from a jobless guy like him. Shu-kun is super confident because he thinks that there is no way some kids who did not make it through the 90s can beat him at this game. Therefore, he challenges those kids that they will not be able to beat him in 100 years and starts a new game. The kids advise him not to waste his time and mention that he can try all that he wants as he is not going to win no matter what happens. They start to play again, and the kids use the controls on the smartphone. The kids call him a jobless guy and he asks them to stop as they are not allowed to mess with him personally. The kids are getting better in the game and Shu-kun thinks that he underestimated the adaptability of the grade schoolers. The little kids ask him not to give up and that he should be trusting his instincts, which makes him angry, and he asks them to shut their mouths. He thinks they're distracting them and says that there is a girl at their school named Lisa. He asks them what she's like when she's at school. However, this does not work and the little guy asks him if she's in his class and makes him shut his mouth. Shu-kun asks Yosuke, one of those guys, if he likes her, and he starts to blush. He claims that she just looks weird all by herself, so he pays some attention to her, and that is all. This distracts his attention and Yosuke starts to wonder if he is going to lose this game. He is worried because he is the best player in the town and he is going to lose the game to a jobless little stick guy. The game ends and Shu-kun says that it is an old game and that is what happens. Yosuke says that it is not fair because they are winning. Shu-kun asks them to call it a tie and Yosuke asks him if it is too bad as he cannot reset his life like a game. Shu-kun says that he is going to make him cry. Amidst, Emily shows up and asks, how long are they going to hide from work? She smiles and says that Shu-kun is like a big grade schooler, and he says that Tommy-san started it. Emily claims that he has always been a big grade schooler. Shu-kun tries to leave, but the little kids stop him and say that they kind of feel bad for him. So they want to play that game once again. Emily smiles and says that it looks like he made some friends there. Everyone works together to complete the preparation, and then Shu-kun asks those little guys to come to the festival too, as it will definitely be fun, and he assures them that they are going to make it fun. The kids say that they will enjoy a bunch of friends with them too, and say thanks to him for hanging out with them. Shu-kun thinks about the words Masakio said, if they are not having fun with themselves, then there is no way they can give everyone else an enjoyable experience. He thinks about those words and says that he does not really understand what he meant by those words, and that what he did today is not too bad every once in a while. Then the old guys approach him and say thanks to him for helping them. They claim that the young people are amazing. Shu-kun thinks about the time period since someone thanked him. Then he mentions that it was nothing as he is glad that they were able to finish. Shu-kun takes the responsibility to spread the word for the next few days about what these people are doing for everyone. Even if it is just a little bit, he wants to get closer to Saiyan-san to being the Matsumoto shoe that Kiriyama-san is looking for. It seems like his stick has started to jiggle. Shu-kun meets Emily while she is going somewhere. He greets her and asks where she is going. Emily asks him if Masakio-san has not told him that she runs a music class and she also works part-time in the Mikumo Hotel. Shu-kun claims that he thought that she only runs a music class and Emily wishes that she could just do that, but lately, she is having fewer students coming to her for lessons. She claims that she has been working at the hotel 3 days a week, but she has to be careful so that she still qualifies as her husband's dependent. Shu-kun understands her reasoning, and then Masakio tells him that she is helping the band to grow because she wants to help her husband, and she is also hoping that it gets kids around here more interested in music. She feels sad because she does not have many students coming to her for lessons, and Shu-kun understands her saying. Then Emily says that she will also help Lisa make some friends too as a mother. She wants to show her daughter's best side to the kids who come to the festival. Shu-kun is impressed by her personality and her thinking. He thinks that she is an amazing woman. Then he asks her if she does not want to play music professionally as she used to feel that before, and she claims that up until the end of high school, her dream was to make a living in the music world, but she got married right after graduating high school and had a kid. Shu-kun asks her, what if she was not married to Tommy-san? This makes her emotional, and she claims that she could never be like Cyan-san. She says that there are plenty of people who can play the music exactly like it is written on the chart, but she does not have the talent to create something new. She knows that even if she works hard, there is still a wall between a naturally gifted person like Cyan and her, and that is clearly different than some guy not even trying to use his natural mediocre as an excuse. However, Masakio has no regrets in her life because she is so lucky to have Masakio-san and Lisa in her life. She claims that she has entrusted her dreams to Lisa, and maybe her dream is for her to make her dream come true. Shu-kun listens to this and says that it is kind of lame. She shows love on his cheek and then says that she has to leave. Shu-kun says that he's pretty sure if she is not watching him then he will get lazy, and she says that she will be at work till this evening. Shu-kun cannot refuse anything if his poster girl Emily-san asks him to do it. He ended up following her all the way to the hotel where she works, and even he would call that weird. He walks into the hotel and wants to get some pictures of the hotel's interior and exterior, as he wants to use them for the promotional video of the area. He asks the manager if he is allowed to take pictures, but he is not sure what a promotional video is. Therefore, he explains that it is kind of like a television commercial, which is about the marketing of the Tabanagawa festival. He asked the manager if he thought about making the promotional video. Shu-kun thinks that right now his hands are full of flyers and the website, and there is a lot that he does not know about that kind of thing, and he does not think Masakio-san knows much better either. However, he will have to do it along with his lessons, but he is not sure if it would be okay if he did that. It might not compare to what Cyan's Fane brings to the table, but it is better than doing nothing. He thinks it will be better than doing nothing, and better than just telling himself that it is a waste to even try. Therefore, he agrees to do it and takes some pictures. Amidst, Emily approaches him and asks if he is sure that he will be able to do the practice there. He says that the headphones will work, plus it is pretty quiet there, so he thinks he will be able to focus too. Emily says that this place is quiet because there are not many customers staying here, as it is a weekday after all. She says that it only really gets busy there when there is a long holiday or during fall when the trees change. She thinks about it and claims that according to her, more guests will show up around the end of this month. Shu-kun looks at her and thinks that seeing her in uniform is something amazing because she looks super beautiful due to her European looks and Japanese clothing. He bets that there will be some guys who come here just to see her, and they do not care about slow season. Shu-kun keeps looking at her and asks her to let him use her pictures as material for the video. He asks her if she can act like she's serving a guest. She asks him if he is making this video for promotional purposes, and if he is sure that he wants her to be in the video. Shu-kun says yes, he wants her to be in the video as a material. Emily's inner woman comes out and she gets ready to be in the video with a very lovely smile on her face. Shu-kun asks her to pull her hair behind her ear. He keeps clicking her pictures and she asks him to stop as he is taking way too many photos. He asks her to wait for a little, but her eyes are amazing and he wants to capture them. Emily takes the camera from him and says that she will be sending pictures to him that she will be taking later on. Shu-kun says that Masakio-san asked him to take pictures of places like the middle school and where he used to play as a kid. Emily smiles and Shu-kun thanks him for agreeing to send him her pictures that she will be taking later on. Emily agrees to work with him because they do not have much time until the day of the festival, so it would be pretty tough to do it all alone. She pats his head and asks him to concentrate on all of his lessons. Then she gets up and says that she will be back after she is done with some work that she needs to do. She asks him to practice what she taught him so far until then. Shu-kun waves his hand and bids goodbye to her. Meanwhile, he thinks that he ends up wanting to be lazy if Emily is not around. He thinks about it and claims that he does not want her to give up on him, as he is getting better and better day by day because of her. Shu wears his headphones and listens to the music carefully. He is deep in his thoughts, but Lisa ruins everything and jumps near him. She asks him what he is doing and tries to be friendly with him. Shu-kun asks her if she does not have school, and she claims that it is lunch period. Shu is shocked to hear that it is already lunchtime because he is so focused that he does not notice the time. Lisa's weird talks begin. She says that she spent her free time while roaming around this ruined world. She came to check on him because her mother told her that he was practicing, so she came to check if he was slacking off. Shu-kun asks her if she means that she will tackle him again if he does, and she says that wrong people face the hammer of judgment. She does not stop there and hits him hard. Emily comes to see if he is practicing or not and sees that he is facing the hammer of judgment by the little Lisa. Emily takes Lisa away from him and apologizes for her doings, while Lisa keeps yelling at him that she will never forgive her for this. Emily takes her away and says that they should get back to school, and Shu-kun wonders if escaping from school is just an everyday thing for her to do. Emily then gives them a bag that Inori sent for him. He opens the bag and sees that she sent something to eat for him. Emily looks at him and smiles. Then she says that it looks like it might still be a little too soon for her to become his mother-in-law. Shu-kan explains that it is a misunderstanding, but she does not listen to it and leaves. Shu is left alone and he sits near the window and eats the food his mother sent for him. While eating, he thinks that he is not falling asleep anymore, and it was nice to have a bit of a distraction there. He thinks maybe Lisa was trying to encourage him in her own way. While he is thinking about it, he sees Yosuke with a girl and they are fighting. Lisa is angry at him because she did not ask him to come and get her, but he claims that he is the only one who comes to look out for her. Lisa claims that she loves freedom while Shu-kan asks himself if he came to get Lisa. He keeps looking at them while both of the little eggs are walking around while holding each other's hands. Shu-kan observes them and he gets a flashback of him and Sei and San walking together while holding each other's hands. He gets motivated to work harder and show Sei what he has. He wants to prove himself right, and that is why he gets back to practicing. While practicing, he promises himself that he will show Sei that his worthless life will go out of glory, and the moment the flame burns out, he will shine brighter than anyone in this world. He asks her to wait in his mind as he is ready to take her along with himself to the festival, and as soon as he finishes practicing, he decides to work on the editing of the promotional video at home. Our loser gets up early in the morning every day and roams around the town to gather materials for the video and hand out the flyers. After he completes the roaming session, he goes to the music class with her favorite teacher, Miss Emily. He works hard in class, gets back home at night, and then works on editing until the morning. He was working as he was during the early days, and her mother walks in angrily and says that sick people need to get to sleep right now, and she knows that he is not sleeping. Shu-kan accepts her order and goes to bed to sleep, but wakes up again and opens the laptop to edit the video as soon as she walks out of the room. He observes that the video is missing something essential, and it is the place that he planned to use at the end of the promotional video known as the Tabanaga River Bank. He says that it is visually attractive in the spring, but it does not look anything like that right now. Therefore, it seems like he will not be able to photograph the rows of the sakura trees or the fields of flowers. However, maybe he could use someone else's photos from spring. He is not sure if he should go with this plan or should come up with some other idea. Shu-kan, the little jiggly stick guy, is out of ideas and time, but he is motivated to do it anyway. This time, he does not want things to end without him even trying. Therefore, he makes himself ready to give it a try this time, even if it does not work. Thus, he opens one of the folders in his laptop and sees Sei in it. He wonders if he was never able to delete it. He uses that picture and the project he was working on is finally done. The next morning, he calls Tommy-san and apologizes for calling him so early. Shu-kan asks him if he is sleeping, and he says that he is not sleeping as it is afternoon right now and his timing is perfect. Shu asks him if it would be alright to bring the stage lights into the event hall, and Masakio claims that the event hall has already lights installed. Shu says that they might not be enough for their show, as he wants to create the best possible environment if they are going to get Seian to perform with them. Masakio agrees with him, but they are out of budget and Shu-kan already figured it out. Therefore, he wants to use his money by selling his video game stuff. Masakio agrees to do it and asks him to focus on himself as he will deal with the rent. Shu-kan is shocked to hear it, and Masakio says that they will pay the rental fees and he is relying on them, so he has their back too. He claims that people from this town should help each other too. Shu-kan thanked him for helping him out and agreeing to increase the number of lights in the event hall. Shu-kan says that this whole town is bad because everyone is so cool, friendly, warm, and down to earth. Whether he likes it or not, they remind him of how worthless he is. Then he talks about Emily, as she has been making all sorts of faces that he bets that he has never seen before. He says this and ends the call while Tomi keeps asking him what he is trying to say. Shu-kan ends the call and thinks that this is the time for his last lesson. He takes the piano to meet Emily, and she says that it looks like it is in good shape now. Shu smiles and says that it is taking all he has got just to play it the way it is written though. In addition, all that is left now is to practice playing it like he will at the festival. It seems like he was feeling low as he fell on the ground, and Emily goes to wake him up and bids him good morning when he finally gains consciousness. Then he asks her why he is lying near her, and she says that he fell asleep right after he completed his third song, and it seems like he is exhausted. Emily then apologizes to him because it seems like she fell asleep too, but Shu-kan is fine with it because it was the best way to wake up. He then asks her if they could stay like this a little longer, and she says that he is such a baby. Emily agrees to stay like that as a reward for his hard work. Shu-kan asks her if she would be sad if he disappeared, and she claims that she would be. She says that she would cry and cry, and even if her tears dried up, she would not stop crying and she would just wait here forever so that he can come for a lesson anytime. Shu feels love when she pats his head, and he gets up and thinks that his life has had some meaning. Even though they will never be able to grow up to be somebody, even though there is no reason for him to continue living like this, he should get going. Emily shows love to him and says that she will see him later. Shu-kun is shocked to get that love from her, and she says that it is good luck for him to get along with Cyan again. There was once a grade school guy who wanted to know the older girl next door, so he started taking music classes. That kid is Shu-kun, and he tells this story to Emily. She asks him to stop or else she will fall in love with him if he says things like that. Shu thought that he just looked up to her, but she was his first love and there was no doubt about it. She is a beautiful person, but now she's out of his reach. It is not love for him anymore, because she is truly important to him. Shu-kun bids her goodbye and he decides to go to the one whom he truly loves the most. He wants to get Cyan now, and that is his goal for now. The long-awaited festival arrives and a lot of people have gathered. Masakio is hosting on stage and is grateful to all who have shown. He even announces that they have a celebrity showing up at the end, so they need to invite their friends as much as they can. Shu is worried if it's alright for Masakio to announce it. There are slim chances of her showing up. The scene turns to a few hours ago when Shu goes to her home and acts like a typical stalker. By judging her window's curtain shut, he concludes she is at home. Her mom eventually shows up, who is another comedy relief character, and tells him she is not home, but she is not good at lying and bluffs things she should not. Cyan seems to be listening to her and shows up herself to get rid of him. Now there is no one to disturb them, so they talk one-on-one. He tries his best to persuade her to come to the festival. He is not old Shu anymore and has decided to never run away. However, she does not have a bit of trust in his empty words anymore. He wants to lessen the distance created between their hearts. So he sends her a USB that contains the promotional video of the festival. It's of no use anymore, but he wants her to see it. It has some of their old photos as well as that certain song, which we will learn later. She thought he was going to run away as usual, so it's quite surprising he has shown up here. He admits to thinking about running away many times, but many people around him supported him for this moment. After listening to his all-brave talk, she does not agree to come right away, instead says she will come if she can make it. The scene shifts to the present when he learns they are scheduled to perform at 2 p.m. Masakio has arranged all the lighting according to Shu's instructions, and for the audio settings, Iori and Lise have brought all the setup and are arranging them. Masakio tells Shu Iori's intrusive thoughts of how she's making efforts to make his son's performance perfect. She embarrassingly butt kicks him to shut his face and asks them to carry instruments. Shu tries to lift these instruments, but his backache kills him, so no one lets him carry any heavy stuff. His mother reminds him that he is a sick man even though he seems stable right now, so he does not need to do labor stuff. Lucky's mom does not know what old folks made him do for festival preparations. Later, he goes to Imai-chan and sulks over Cyan for not showing up when they have made a lot of effort and made a promotional video for nothing. Imai somehow believes Cyan will show up and his feelings must have gone through her. He takes a breath and just decides to rest. Lee shows up and insists they play with her. They all go out to check out the preparations. Cyan's mom and Ivory are together arguing over some yearbook. Iori has caught Cyan's mom red-handed trying to sell Imai's old picture book. However, she denies bluntly this accusation made against her. This accusation is 100% correct considering what she exposed to Imai about Ivory a long time ago. Finding Cyan nowhere, Shu decides to go to her home, but Yosuke interrupts him that he heard Cyan might be performing at a festival. He is discussing it with him because he has seen Shu together with Cyan, so he might know something about it. Shu sweats while lying. He does not know what he's talking about. Yosuke sees the apple of his eye, Lee's there, which assures his guest that she will also be performing on stage. He whispers to Shu to tell her that he is rooting for her, but Shu wants him to tell it by himself, otherwise he will regret it later. See how his miscommunication has turned into a romantic and tragic story. Lisa's sight falls on him, so she comes to meet, but after processing what Shu said, he becomes red and runs with his tail between his legs. Imai has been seeing all this drama and calmly takes Shu to get some lunch. Going ahead a little ahead, she turns excited to witness the love of grade schoolers in the air. Shu and mother-daughter duo go for lunch, and on the way back, they see Sujiwara-sensei bringing a herd of students into the festival. Shu goes to thank him for helping out, but it's the opposite. Sensei is a great fan of Shu and Cyan and has hardly done anything for them. Shu reveals she might not be coming up, but Sensei believes things will get better. A storm is brewing up, and only he will be able to control her gales. She came to middle school this morning for some unknown reason, which she will learn soon. Aori shows up with delinquent behavior and greets Sujiwara-sensei in a very informal way. He has been her homeroom teacher back then. Looking at her attitude and behavior, he is glad her son has not adapted her habits. She happily tells her sensei that she has been living a good life with her son, and soon he will be witnessing something bluster on stage. The time for their outfit change comes. Imai looks incredibly cute in her dress, and Shu praises her with his heart content, and when the same dress his mother wears, this jerk just shows her a thumbs up without any emotion. They have just half an hour left, so they have to go ahead and set the stage. The time passes by, but Sayan is nowhere to be seen. Shu is all messed up and perplexed by the thoughts that if he had run away from the start, then it would not have happened and no one would have gotten hurt. Furthermore, she might have not forgiven her for all his past sins. The stage lights start turning on, focusing on all the people on stage. Shu loses his stand and starts running away, and right there, she makes a cool entrance on her cute tricycle. He grabs her hand and runs backstage, thinking if they are together, they will achieve anything. This scene kind of resembles when Eren runs with Mikasa in her thoughts instead of doing rumbling stuff. Baeka Shu learns later that it was just he who did not know about her. She texted all the others this morning that she would come and they had to keep it secret from him. Poor soul. Her twisted girly side wanted to look cool by her last-minute entrance. Sayan shuts all of them and claims she won't sing for town or so whatsoever. She will sing because she loves to. They all dedicate their hearts and cheer up. And finally, the curtain rises. The curtain rises and lights bring shine to the stage where all the stars are set with their instruments. They begin to bring a storm that day. This stage was set by Shu to see this miracle, this sight, and to hear her voice alongside her. Shu is trying to catch up with Sayan, and she is also singing to match his pace. She introduces herself as Seinro, a jobless who dreams of having her get butt. She was born there and joined music class in elementary school just because his friend joined. They started writing songs together, and now she feels like they are back to the old days. She is genuinely enjoying singing, but it's still painful to stand here alone and sing. She wants to get stronger enough to stand here confidentially. She sings her last song, Be With You, which is very emotional and makes her all teary. After their excellent performance, they throw a party where Masakio is getting mad with happiness. This festival was a huge success and almost 6,000 people joined them. Right now, Tabanagawa term is trending everywhere and people are posting about Sayan starting up again in Tabanagawa. Ayori and everyone are surprised at how many people from Tokyo have come here even though they have not used her name in marketing campaigns and advertisements. Well, it's Sayan who announced it. She just posted her photo with a wonderful caption that is, she is going to crash Tabanagawa Festival. And this is what created a storm. Shu is such cute boyfriend material. He notices she is still using her old mobile. Well, she had no reason to buy another one if this one works fine. Literally poor girl things. Masakio still does not get how her fans got there in such a short amount of time. Even if they took a bullet train, coming there on time is insane. This shows how much popular she is and her fans were waiting to hear her voice. If she had posted it earlier, then they would have more of an audience, but she had no intention of coming until morning and she did it on a hunch. Anyway, EMI is grateful to Sayan because of her singing. She's got a lot of inquiries about her music classes, and some students wanted to do some events before school closes, so she's going to open her trial session soon. It was also Lisa's day where she made friends and exchanged numbers. She turns flushed when she receives a message from her friend, and this innocent child in modern times does not know what to do with this message. On Shu's advice, she opens the message, which says he wants to become her mother's student. And this her friend goes by the name Yosuke. Both Ime and Masakio get surprised to see a new romance story in progress. Now when talking about the festival, the situation was just like a concert where she was surfed by the crowd crazily, but sadly no one tried to lend a hand to Shu when he jumped to be surfed. Ayori also dreams if she were 20 she would have jumped. That Baeka Masakio, who has such an angelic wife, craves to see Ayori diving in the crowd. Imai pulls him back from crossing his limits. Thank God we got screen time on our couple. Shu thanks her for bringing smiles to all people, but she modestly does not take credit and gives it to the whole team. With this, their conversation dies, so Sayan continues and appreciates his efforts. They both wish to have fun and for things to continue like this forever. At the end of their party, Masakio thanks all of them as a representative of the committee. He is not aware of what their next event will be, but he will make sure to make it full of fun and entertainment. Until a few days ago, Shu was lonely and had no desire to keep on living, but now he wonders how much time he has left. When seeing off other team members, Imai calls Shu close to him and asks him to check Sayan's official account if he has not seen it. She might not say it considering how she is being, but you will learn it after checking it. He understands and agrees to look at it later. When others are gone, it's just Shu and Sayan left back. They don't talk much about anything, so Sayan starts walking ahead. He stops her and asks the reason if she has come today just because she felt to come. No other feelings for him. Well, she was not planning to come considering he would run away, but he came without running any further, so she decided to sing by his side. She cried at the end because it reminded her of how he did not come 5 years ago. Now she's going to be on her own, and it's the end of his childhood friend. That's how this miracle ends. He checks her account where she has posted his professional masterpiece, the promotional video he gave to her. This video ends on its time, but there is some indication of her saying something lovely about him. She was waiting, so let her sing next to the person she loves in the place she loves. It clearly shows how much she is in love with her town and her Shu. He starts crying with a lot of tears of regret and sorrow. It's her birthday in 2 days on the 15th of October, and it's the same day when he ran away from her 5 years ago. Are you craving how little Shu and Cyan used to be and were already a cute couple? Shu comes to get Cyan from her home to see the shooting stars, but it's their top secret. He has brought a ladder so she can come down easily from the window instead of recklessly jumping from there. They hold their hands and reach the place where they can easily see the shooting stars. He is a gentleman in men and has brought even a blanket to cover themselves from this cold. They are so cute together. They finally see their first meteor shower where he quickly reminds her to make a wish, and our girl wishes that they both remain together. He blushes while saying if she does not say it 3 times before the stars are gone, it won't come true. She wishes the stars come down slowly, but it's not going to happen, so she asks him to make a wish instead. Then she inquires what wish she asked for, and he says money 3 times. But it's not what he truly wished for, as I already said. He is one of gentlemen. He's about to say what he wishes, she laughs and plans to return home. How can a girl listen to a confession coming from her crush? The next day, he comes home and finds out she has a fever and is resting in her room. He goes there and apologizes to her for taking her out last time, and as compensation, he's prepared to do anything. So she demands him what he wished for yesterday, but he does not tell her and hopes she feels better soon. Well, it was all this dream about his past time which he can't return to, so he starts practicing again. As I already said, he is a gentle man. He wished them to be together. It was just a story about one of their moments. Let's see how much their past has in store for us. They both were born in the same hospital in the same year. Their homes were close to each other and their moms were also schoolmates. Shu had a gentle and humble father who always tried to spoil him, and his mother was stern and nagged father for spoiling their kid. When he entered kindergarten, his father died in the hospital. Back then, he was unaware of the concept of death and did not grieve over his father's death, but his mother was crying with her eyes bulging out. Maybe it's because he had his mother and his Saiyan by his side who tried to fill in the missing pieces. On entering the elementary school, he starts insisting on joining the music class conducted by lovely Mi-san. Ayuri teases him for being so young for Mi-san and getting into affairs. On the other hand, Saiyan also insists on joining music classes along with him. Obviously, she is jealous of a girl older than her. Then, it is where all started. They both started taking music classes together. Coming home together one day, they coincidentally meet a 3rd grade delinquent like one in Tokyo Revengers who is suspended from school due to fighting. He evilly asks them to play with him, but those smart kids start running, and in a short time, Kid Shu brings along his mom. He recognizes who she is and begs her to forgive her, and from that incident, he starts to show up at her home frequently. The trio started staying together. Once little Saiyan comes crying because some old dude kicked her off from the swings. Shu cannot see her crying and requests Masakio to teach him how to fight, but he is too young to get involved in fighting, so Masakio teaches him how to deal with those dudes. There is a game Sheki, where one throws a ball onto the roof and whoever he calls has to catch the ball without letting it hit the ground, and that person throws it again on the roof and calls out another name. It goes on until the first person who misses the catch is called Ichiki, and if he fails to catch it 4 times, he is called Sheki. The Sheki's punishment is verbal bullying while being showered with balls. This game goes on the same as the rules, and one of those bullies loses it and earns his punishment. This loser has no self-dignity and brings along his old brothers to mess with grade schoolers. Shu stands up again against them to show off. Those dudes cannot stand a young boy going against them and are about to hit him. Masakio shows up and kicks their asses. He praises Shu for taking a stand for Saiyan and becomes a shining hero for these kids, but they are little ones without noticing Masakio has some other intentions. He comes along with these kids to their music class. Actually, he has come to see our cute Imai because he is in the class next to hers and has feelings for her. He makes an excuse that these kids wanted to take him to the music class, but it is a lie. Shu is a smart kid and knows how to impress the girls. He praises Masakio in front of Imai that he is a super reliable and kind person, but Imai realized in school that he is a scary delinquent. She sees off him in a very sweet way that turns him flushed, and he comes back in a hurry. Well, that was his way of using those little kids and getting close to her. They continued to learn the basics and appeal of music throughout 6 years of elementary school. Seian started skipping her classes in middle school just because out of nowhere, she created a new piece of song in mind and went out to sing it, and every time Shu followed him back there. She adapted a quiet personality and was a bit clumsy. She made her studio in the school attic with her own guitar and chair and sang in her voice that echoed throughout the entire school. He also liked to see a prodigy friend up to this close. After school, they used to go up the stairs at the river bank where she would sing and play her guitar. In that calm environment and with her soft tone, he fell asleep one day on her shoulder. She woke him up after a while when he started flirting with her. He comments on her hair smell, her face, and her eyes. He is captivated by all of them. She started to gain fame in the surrounding area and people gathered around her to listen to her pretty voice. Her songs were mostly romantic ones which were about how she loved spending time with him. One day, she shows her desire of wanting him to write songs with her. She wants to keep singing with him so that her voice reaches more people. At that time, Shu starts to doubt his existence. What if he would hold her back someday, but she is his sunshine in his life? She makes him recognize his worth and that whatever she is right now is just because of him. They make a promise in that April that he would be by her side if she wants it, and they will meet again if they have doubts in their paths. They promise in April. You're lying, April. They continue to take classes under Ime. Shu is enthusiastic and notes down the points of how they would get fame in this technology era, whereas Sayan is busy playing with Lee's, which somehow burns a spark of jealousy. Imi asks Shu an obvious question if he will keep working with Sayan, and he confidentially answers that he intends to be always by her side. Sayan must have felt butterflies in her stomach. Imai has a little surprise for them and brings along a synthesizer she used to use, and Sayan also does not need to give back a guitar which she lent to Sayan. There will be a lot of troubles and obstacles in their way, and it is what she can do for her students. They feel so comfortable and warm in her presence and feel like they are the luckiest kids with a good fortune to meet a person like Mi-san. They thank her with their heart content. By insisting on her mother, Sayan manages to get a new phone to live stream shows and shows off in front of Shu. Shu is also done with the making of their new song. Before they play, Sayan intends to live stream it, but she does not know a thing about mobile phones, which makes her mad. He takes the responsibility of live streaming and social media and tackles the problem related to her mobile. She makes a cute pout and asks when he learned how to use it. Actually, he knows it because sometimes he uses his mother's mobile, mostly for games. He is setting up her social account and want to know what name she will use. She plans to use her real name, but in Ramaji, he Google it, because she wants her close one to call her Kiriyama Sayan. That Beika asks her outright if he is also in that group, and she says while hiding her face, you should know it without asking. Both have their faces burning red. Seeing her cute pout makes butterflies in his stomach, which he even does not get what this feeling is, so he tries to avoid such a situation. He has created her account, and now it's time to check out how it goes. She is anxious as hell in front of a live camera. She introduces herself as Sayan of the middle school, and it's their first step not for a career, but they want the world to hear their music. At lunchtime, she starts singing her new song, which is still in progress, while he makes her video right after her. He is captivated by her pretty voice and her beauty and realizes he really loves her and wants to watch her sing like this forever. When she completes her song, she notices everyone has surrounded her, so out of embarrassment, she flees off. However, a video of her song is complete to be uploaded to her account. She is on another level. This song was not complete, but she made it one on the spot. The time flies in their favor and she becomes a full-fledged indie singer after 10 months. They are already trending on social sites and their live streams get over 80,000 views and tons of comments. Since they are not professional, their live streams are also shabby ones that attract attention. Considering those comments, Shu asks her if she has a favorite genre or artist. She does like romantic songs, but she has also been influenced by the person who taught her how to play the guitar. She goes on talking about her likes and comfortably talking with a live camera, glad Shu that she has taken another step in her growth. She is going to sing another song and makes an excuse that her other songs are in progress. It worries Shu that she has made another excuse when they are not close to finishing their original songs yet. She is trending everywhere and her fame is out of control, so it's the right time to do something. He gives her the idea of making a music video of his song, Be With You, and uploading it on video sites, which will be a great strategy for marketing. She does not have an objection to that idea, and they start creating the video. He films her while she gives her a pretty charming smile, but each time, he ends up shaking his mobile. Actually, he's fascinated by her smile, which attracts him and melts his heart. Raise hands who wants a man like Shu. They plan to record the hook of the video in front of the cherry trees with a relaxed look. He does not end noticing his girlfriend's actions. Her talent and destiny are to attract an audience around her as a colony of bees around the queen bee. While filming her, he starts doubting more and considers himself a mediocre whose destiny cannot coexist with her. They can't stay together. Perplexed by the realization of his fate, he stops filming her live stream and goes back. She comes to check on him in the room where he is sulking over his mistake and apologizes to her. She rests against his back and makes him realize she is nothing without him. They have come this far just because they have worked together. She started her journey of starting music to chase after him, so if they are together, they can make anything possible. He does not want to let her down and sets his mood back. He decides to make her live show at the Tabinagawa Festival, which is going to happen 2 weeks from now on. It will be nice if they prepare a bunch of songs and do another live show to perform them. Seeing him cheerful again calms her down without realizing he is going through what. He does not have anything to give her as a birthday present, so gives her a guitar pick, which is enough to bring a smile to her face. She is happy to have him by her side, even if he is worthless. He promises to get her a new song next year while thinking the exact opposite of what he is saying. He's trying to do his best to accept they can do whatever if they are together, but he is at his limits of not catching up to her expectations and wants to disappear. He does not have his personal mobile yet, so she insists he buys one as it's not convenient for her to contact and chat with him. While blushing, she gives him her contact and email address to contact her. Seeing her bashful, he desires more to be always by her side. He loves her pouty face, bashful face, and laughing face and is down bad for her. He is planning to disappear, but his love for her is making him stall his time. He readily admits to buying one cell phone so he can be close to her. You might be thinking he was a jerk who left her on halfway, so there's a juicy tea prepared for you guys. They make it to have her first live show at the festival, and here's when Shu's downfall begins. Shu sees the crowd around her stage is getting bigger, which will confuse her, so he requests them to get aside. Some girls seem arrogant and in return ask him who he is to her to say something like that. While looking gloomy, he claims himself just Cyan's childhood friend. Those girls consider him just lucky to be born next to her, whereas they have to come here from far to see her. He does not correct them and feels pathetic in comparison to his prodigy friend. Negative energy starts flowing through him. For the career consultation in school, he writes his priority as a songwriter on the form, but his teacher does not seem satisfied. Songwriting is such a difficult field, he would need talent, hard work, and some connections to make a living. He should start pursuing it right after graduating from high school. This world is cruel, which does not work without a high school diploma, and if he chooses a path other than songwriting, then there won't be job chances without a good education. Shu has had enough due to continuous stress and loses control. He can't continue to take his time to catch up to Cyan. She is growing day by day and getting farther from him, whereas he is still struggling. The teacher gives him a reality check if he would be able to achieve more with his free time. He has to support his mother, who would feel more at ease if he chooses a reliable path. There is a short amount of time left for high school's entrance exams, so he must prepare for them as soon as possible. Shu has come to this realization that he is still with her Cyan just because he is her childhood friend, luckily, and he can't be at her side no matter what he does. Poor guy can see darkness surrounding his life. His time has stopped, whereas Cyan is getting farther from him. It's the day when she is going to do a live performance in front of Station Square. She delivers 5 songs, 4 are covers, and the last one is her original song. After a successful performance, they roam around the town where she seems so pleased and wonders how far they both will go. But he does not say anything to her and looks so down while thinking she could go anywhere without him. She is so special and he is just another random person. The things he has supported her in can be done by any person in the bottom position at a recording studio or an entertainment agency. She demands him to cheer her up like he always does, but he is prepared to let things end right now. He declares himself unworthy of making her do a successful one-man show. If he had watched demo Cs properly, which she gave him, then a one-man show might have been possible. She was coming up with songs without realizing that had low quality according to his level. If it were not him, she could have been creating amazing songs. She wants to deny whatever he is saying, and with her shaking voice, she reminds him of the promise made in April about staying with her and writing songs for her. At first, he has declared himself unworthy of supporting her, then he acts to be a lowly and disgraceful person. He claims his sayings were a game just to make memories with her, and playing with her allowed him to have some fun dreams. He will continue to support her and will be proud to see when she achieves her dreams. She can't stand him saying such hateful things and runs away after slapping right at his face. Well, he deems it to be best for her. She can walk alone without him, but this fact is filling his eyes with tears. From that point, he started focusing on his studies and preparing for entrance exams. Cyan started to skip her classes more often and avoided seeing him in his eyes as much as she could. He goes to her home one day to deliver the printouts provided by their homeroom teacher, but she is not around there. Her mother feels something happened between them because she started to leave early in the morning and comes back late at night as she is waiting for someone. Shu probably knows she would be playing guitar out there. The day of her birthday arrives, and it's the first time he is not together with her. On a rainy day, he comes out to roam around and get fresh air, but he has actually come to see if she is playing guitar in the rain. She is really out there near the riverbank and waiting for him as they promised once. He feels sharp pain in his heart. Instead of nagging her, he drops his umbrella and starts running from all of it. Following their graduation, they choose their own paths. Shu enters the high school throwing his past in Tabinagawa, and Cyan also gives her debut right after it. Well, this was all from the past. He had reasons for not continuing his life with Cyan, and she was almost right to resent him, but they should have communicated with each other. His past is what the current Shu was recalling. They have somehow talked with each other, but last time she really cut off her friendship with him and is planning to go back to Tokyo with her new personality. If she goes back, then he won't be able to hear a word from her, so he gets up and is going to see her and hear her voice once last time. He goes to her home first and learns she has gone somewhere on her tricycle. He guesses she might be with Lise and learns her location that she might be at the children's park. He quietly sneaks to their backs and loudly says he found a suspicious-looking woman next to a young girl. She makes faces while calming herself. She has come here because it reminds her of a past time when they were kids, a life with no worries and no stress, and what happened to all of that. She does not know anymore what she would have done not to let this happen. Shu gives her confidence in what she accomplished. After all, she is beloved by her fans. She has not changed all these 5 years. She should have left everything that was dragging her down. She is fed up with his nonsense and upset for not getting why he is not telling her what he really thinks. Lee senses something is going on between them, so she comes with that game Sheki to resolve their problem. After all, she is the daughter of Masakio. Both of them accept the challenge. Seiyan wants him to make amends by taking beatings from her, and it's exactly what he wants. After 5 minutes, Shu successfully becomes a loser, as it was just an excuse to be punished by her true feelings. They go to the riverbank, the place where it all started and where he left her cruelly. She genuinely asks him why he left her alone in this world, and he replies he is not fit to stand by her side. She shuts him down and keeps on blabbering her verbal punishment on him. It does not concern her that if he finds another woman and doesn't do any job, she won't leave him, but if he leaves her, then she won't be able to do anything. They started their journey together and were able to achieve their dreams, but he was just pretending to make those dreams, and she was getting excited like an idiot. She grabs his collar to nag him while her tears flow down her cheeks and mixes with rain pouring on them. When he left her, he thought about quitting the music, but she did not stop. She thought if she became famous enough to spread this song, which they made together, then they would praise their song. She did not want to go to concerts, but she unwillingly attended concerts with the thoughts her voice might reach him. After all, her beloved Shu was in Tokyo together with her. She continued to give it his all that he might be supporting her from somewhere, so she kept on singing to express her feelings to him, and yet he did not even try to watch her singing. It's all an eye-opener for him and does not say anything back. He thought she might be achieving her dreams alone, but she was clinging on to them just for his sake. After venting their intrusive thoughts, all of them end up arriving at the hotel where Ime works for her part-time job. Seeing both of them soaked in rainwater, she suggests they should take a bath, otherwise they will catch a cold. Seiyan intends to pay the bill and rent a room for her and Shu to stay a night. Ime misunderstands her if they are planning to stay in the same room. Ime clarifies to her that they are working together. If she won't look over him, he will slack off, so he also will be staying here. Ime understands it and leads them to take an open-air bath. Meanwhile, she will prepare their room. Shu undresses himself and tries to hurry up before Seiyan starts nagging him. He enters the bath and finds Seiyan standing there, which surprises and embarrasses both of them. Ime tells them from the door that this is the reserved bath for families, married couples, and lovers. She seems to be having the wrong idea. What? They are not lovers? Idiots. Without wasting their time further, Seiyan comes forth to take a bath and makes awful sounds while taking the cold shower. He turns to her to see if she is hurt, but she throws him a bucket and commands him to stay underwater for a while. He tries to calm down, as they have already taken a bath when they were young. They both are in hot water and talk about their promise, which is if they lost their path in life, they would meet again at that place, and he would present her with a song he made on his birthday. It's her birthday tomorrow, so she requests him to fulfill that promise before she leaves. That will help her to forget about him. She will take the last bullet train tomorrow and can't stay longer even if he requests her. Her fans and staff are waiting for him, and he can't let them wait for her selfish requests. They have a little time left, so she wants to spend it as they were 5 years ago. He admits to taking on this request for her sake this time. They both come out and make preparations for their work. Ime brings along a delicious dinner. Shu wants to focus on work with Seiyan, but she is already having dinner with her beloved Leaves. He also digs in the meal and cries with happy tears that eating food with the money of his childhood friend is tasty. Ime asks him with her puppy eyes if she put their Fugans next to each other, but this time her charm does not work and he bluntly denies her. Mother and daughter Do finally leave the hotel. Now it's just Shu and Seiyan left, who occupy their work. They have different personalities shaped by their time apart, which align with each other to create a masterpiece. They have no other person involved between them. After all, it's a birthday present just for a girl he likes. While working, Seiyan falls asleep on his shoulders and wakes up in the morning when it's her birthday. She did not ever think she would have to spend her 20th birthday with him. She wants to stay like this for a few minutes. He would like to congratulate her, but will wait until he gives her a present. He is determined to make it successful. Even a trash like him should be able to bring a smile to her face. But God has other plans. He starts to have blurred and dark visions and even can't listen to whatever she is saying. He has finally found the reason and hope to live in this world, so he takes his words of dying back, but he ends up falling unconscious. He opens his eyes in the hospital where his mother is also there. She almost got a heartbreak when Seiyan told her about his collapse. She did not tell Seiyan about his surgery and medical conditions, just said how his lack of sleep and disturbed lifestyle have caused high blood pressure. However, she was worried about him and went home by train. She will go to Tokyo after packing her things so he should give her a call. Moreover, she gave her a guitar pick. It's the same pick that he gave her as a replacement for the gift. She talks about his health condition, which is not like those who are sleep-deprived, and there are almost no recovery chances even after surgery. There might be side effects, but there is hope that he can live. His disease is almost like his father, who was unaware at first, and it was already too late by the time he learned. He was a total moron who talked with her first in the middle first, when she had no friends and everyone was afraid of her. Sugiura persuaded her to join his band, which participated in a cultural festival, and from then, everyone started talking to her. When his father died, she had no one to turn to, so she started hating everyone and running away. Sensei again stepped in and made her realize she had someone to take care of. She does not want to lose him and end up in despair again. She is crying while begging him not to give up. He gives her hope that when he had lost consciousness, he wished to live more. He has decided to have surgery so he can enjoy his life filled with warm people and person he loves. On the way back home, his mom tells him all hurtful tales about his dad, which she burnt in her heart for all these years. Ayori gets back to her work after leaving his son back home. It's nearly time for Seiyan to leave Tabanagawa Station. He doubts that she will ever meet him given that he did not fulfill her promise, but he is not alright with not seeing her again. It reminds him of the contact number she gave him 5 years ago. He is not sure if she has changed it, but he will give it a try with everything he has in the resort and will proudly stand next to her. She luckily picks up his call and he blabbers that he does not want her to go back to Tokyo and that he is coming to her right now. She does not say anything and hangs up her mobile. However, he does not give up and runs to her on his bicycle. Being a NEET for years has jammed his body. Even with his best effort, he cannot move his cycle. Fortunately, Masakio comes in his car right after taking his family to see off Seiyan. He saw her when she was on mobile with someone and was crying at the train station while putting up a brave face. So Shu should ask her directly about her feelings. He takes him into the car and talks about his love story. He might have thought drawing distance from her would help her instead of holding her back, but he was wrong. His pointless efforts have managed to let the world know how great her personality is. It does not matter if his efforts were pointless. They had some meaning that went through her. Masakio and Ima also went through such a trial. Ima was planning to move to Tokyo and become a professional, and he thought of himself as a hurdle in her way. They even decided to break up, but he did not want to live without her, so he came up with a proposal to marry her. On the day of her departure, he hugged her and said an iconic line of making her happy and her life enough to forget about music. Shu laughs at his lame line, but he is sure Ima is living happily with her family and has passed her dream on to little Lise. Masakio is pleased he did not let that chance get away and advises him to take a chance firmly whatever they get before they regret it for the rest of their lives. If he really loves her, then he should not be concerned about her position just to get her in his life. So he should open up his feelings for her, and rest will depend upon Seiyan. Shu is glad he got to meet Masakio on his way and encouraged him. Seiyan is waiting for her train, not train, but for her beloved Shu. However, before he arrives to get her, the call for the Tokyo train to leave shortly comes. She plugs her hands-free in her ear to listen to a nameless song and moves to the platform, leaving her heart for Shu behind. At the bad time, Shu comes to the station and looks for her, but she is nowhere to be found. He again gives her a call on his old number, which she picks up eventually and finally confesses the reason for leaving her behind alone. He was afraid of being thrown away by her and considered himself unbefitting to be on her side. Now things have changed and he does not want her to become a professional but sing just for him. The reason he has called her is to let her know she's important in his life. He might have run away, but his feelings did not change and he still loves her. She also reciprocates his feelings and confesses that she wants to stay by his side forever and has liked him for the longest time. She comes walking to him and has not left for Toyko on the last train. How come she can leave when he is chasing her? She starts crying while saying all the stuff and he gently calms down. They are coming back together. She plans to save his number on her own. That worries him if she can do it, but she's not a child anymore. He is excited and pleased that they met through their mothers. They had homes close to each other and they were born in the same year. So considering all these things, he concludes it is fate that is tying them together. She giggles and asks him to put these lines in his lyrics. They both are a duo of a singer and songwriter, so they have the talent to make small details into a poetic manner. They confess their feelings again in detail and decorated way and embrace each other. She wants to do a lot of live concerts with him. She wants to drink sweet sake with him and spend a lot of time. He congratulates her a happy birthday and she wants to sing a new song for him. He has decided not to die with a smile but to live with Cyan together. Time passes by and things change for the best. We see Sensei has been the best wingman from start to end of the story. Shu becomes a founder of a label company and has come to Vice Principal Sugawara Sensei as the company representative. He is planning to do a live concert and has come with the hope that Sensei will light up this concert with all students and graduates. Sensei takes on this responsibility and asks him to drag Ayori along. He seems to have trouble while getting up. Sensei notices that he can't see with his eyes. Shu is actually losing his vision, but it's a small price to pay when he can hear the pretty voice of his girlfriend. She has also come to school and sings a song with her distinctive voice under the cherry blossoms. He runs with his vision problem towards where she is. He might not achieve things alone, but if they are together, they can go far ahead where their future takes and dream about a lot of things. That's why he gave a name, Be With You, to his song. It is how their tragic and romantic story ends.